Ever wondered how ancient Greece, a land of legendary philosophers, warriors, and gods, was actually organized? It wasn't one big unified country like we see today. Instead, it was a patchwork of hundreds of independent cities, or as the Greeks called them, polis. Let's dive into how these fascinating mini-nations actually worked. Imagine a city, but it's also its own country. That's a polis. Each one had its own government, its own laws, its own army, and even its own patron, god or goddess. The most famous ones you've probably heard of are Athens, the birthplace of democracy, and Sparta, the ultimate military society. But there were many others, like Corinth, Thebes, and Syracuse, each with its unique character. So, what did a typical polis look like? At the heart of it, you'd find the Acropolis, a fortified hilltop. This was the city's sacred center, home to its most important temples, like the Parthenon in Athens. It was both a place of worship and a final line of defense. Down below, the Acropolis was the Agora. This was the bustling open-air marketplace, but it was so much more than that. It was the hub of daily life. People came here to shop, to catch up on gossip, to discuss politics, and to listen to philosophers. It was the commercial, social, and political heart of the city, all rolled into one. Surrounding the urban center were the chora, the farmlands that fed the city's population. The food supply was crucial, and control over this territory was a constant source of rivalry between neighboring polis. Now, let's talk about the people. The concept of citizenship was a huge deal in the Greek world, but it was very exclusive. To be a citizen, you generally had to be an adult male, born to citizen parents. Citizens had rights and responsibilities. They could own land, participate in government, and were expected to serve in the army to defend their polis. This shared responsibility created a powerful sense of community and identity. If you were a citizen of Athens, you were an Athenian first and foremost. But what about everyone else? Well, a large part of the population were not citizens. This included women, who had very few rights and were largely confined to the home. There were also medics or resident foreigners, who could be merchants or craftspeople, but couldn't own land or vote. And at the very bottom of the social ladder were the enslaved people, who had no rights at all and were considered property. It's a stark reminder that while the Greeks gave us ideas like democracy, their society was far from equal by modern standards. Government was where things got really diverse. You had different systems all across Greece. Sparta was famously an oligarchy, ruled by a small group of elite citizens, including 2 kings. Their entire society was geared towards military perfection. Athens, on the other hand, experimented with democracy. Adult male citizens could vote directly on laws and serve in government through a lottery system. This idea of direct citizen participation was revolutionary for its time. Other polis were ruled by tyrants, not necessarily meaning they were cruel, but that they had seized power unconstitutionally. Despite their independence and frequent conflicts, the polis also shared a common Greek identity. They spoke the same language, worshipped the same gods, and came together for pan-Hellenic events like the Olympic Games. This created a fascinating dynamic of unity and division that defined ancient Greece. The polis was more than just a city. It was the center of a Greek person's world, shaping their identity, their politics, and their destiny. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this glimpse into the ancient world, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more history deep dives. See you next time.